All right, the month of June is almost here, and that means Kirby Smart, the Georgia Bulldogs, are going to have massive recruiting weekends throughout the month of June. And this first weekend in June could arguably be the biggest one of the summer. Plenty of five stars are going to be in town. I have to break these videos up. I'm going to have one right now talking about the offensive players that are going to be in town this weekend for official visits. And then tomorrow's video is going to be about the defensive targets and commitments who are going to be in town for official visits. But massive weekend, as I've been alluding to for weeks. So let's jump right into it, right? There's a couple, kids already committed that are going to be taking in officials, but I want to start this video off talking about the targets, the big names who are uncommitted right now, who are going to be taking their official to Georgia. And the first guy I have to talk about is five-star wide receiver Ryan Wingo. Tennessee was a team that I thought was leading for him in the beginning of his recruitment. He was in Knoxville over the weekend, Memorial Day weekend. They're trying to get back towards the top of his list, but I still think Georgia sits in a really good spot for him. And I did before Dylan Raiola even committed to Georgia. Now that he is publicly on board, I still think that Georgia is the clear team to beat. This kid can do it all. Caught 41 passes last year, 785 yards. Not eye-opening, but he scored 13 touchdowns. Played on both sides of the ball up in Missouri. Had 44 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 interceptions, 1 defensive touchdown. He's a punter, punt returner. The kid can do anything. Spoke with his coach on the phone, wrote a big story about Ryan Wingo over on Dawg Post weeks ago. So this is a guy that, if you've been on Dawg Post, if you've been watching my videos, you know all about this kid right now. He's going to be at Georgia this weekend. Would not surprise me at all if he went ahead and publicly committed to Georgia during an official visit this weekend. Something to keep an eye on. After that, he'll go to Michigan, then Texas, then Missouri. It does not have an official plan for Tennessee that I know of, but he's been there a ton. He might take one down the road, but I really like where Georgia sits with five-star wide receiver Ryan Wingo, who's going to have Dylan Raiola in his ear all weekend, so definitely a guy to keep an eye on. Before I move on, I have to plug Double Dogs. Father's Day is right around the corner. Don't get him a tie. Don't get him a cup. Nobody wants all that. I mean, that's in the past. Get him Double Dogs. We've got pictures like this. You're not going to find this picture anywhere else. Nobody else has this picture on the internet. If you see that picture somewhere else, it's because they stole it from the Dawg Post crew, because we took all these pictures in this book that you are not going to see anywhere else. Best book in the world right now. Go buy it for your dad for Father's Day. Back to the video, right? Jared Gibson, number 2 running back prospect in the country. Georgia native from Jonesboro, was at Mundy's Mill High School, now at IMG Academy. Don't think Georgia has really ever led here. Been hearing that Texas is the team to beat. He will be at Texas later in June. He's going to be at Georgia for an official visit this weekend. We'll see if Del McGee and that offensive staff can, climb higher on his list of schools. Then he goes to Miami, then Tennessee, then Texas. And I think Texas still might be the team to beat. You got to watch Miami with all these big time prospects. They're using NIL as well as anyone. They will show you the money, as the term goes. But number 2 running back prospect in the country, runs a 4.5 at 5'10", 200. Smooth runner, breaks a lot of tackles. Was very good throughout his middle school prep career. This is a guy I've heard about for a long time. And Georgia's going to swing their shot. Del McGee has 1 running back on board, Dwight Phillips Jr., who brings plenty of speed, but he's looking for that second running back, and he's going to take a shot with Jared Gibson this weekend. So if Georgia wants any chance at landing this kid, they need to knock this official visit out of the park. Moving on. Daniel Calhoun, 6'5", 340 over at Walton. Known him for a long time. Big target for Stacey Searles. I think this is going to turn into a Georgia-Alabama battle. Always have liked where Georgia sits, and I think if you had to make a decision today, it would be Georgia. NIL is going to be a big deal from what I've heard behind the scenes there, as it is for a lot of teams. But he told me in person that, hey, being able to be developed, play for a championship, that means a lot to me. And Georgia and Alabama check both of those boxes. He's going to take an official visit to Alabama after his official visit to Georgia, then Auburn, Tennessee, and then Texas. I don't think Tennessee is a team that's going to, land him over a team like Georgia or Alabama. Thought Clemson was in the picture for a while. It does not appear that they are so much anymore. He likes Texas, was out there earlier this spring. I think he's excited to get back out there, but he's big. He is a mauler. excellent run defender, can play tackle or guard at the next level. He's big, and he will bully you if you don't know what you're doing. Big time prospect, and a guy that I think Georgia fans should keep a close eye on. Another offensive lineman to know who's going to be in town this weekend. He's from Illinois. Marcus Easley, 6'7", 300. He's got an official visit to Georgia, then Oklahoma, Tennessee, Alabama. So, big schools in the mix. Long, athletic, pass protector. But his best football is still ahead of him. I think he's raw, but I think he's really, really good. And I think he's the guy that Searles would love to have and just continue to grow and develop him. He could be a big, big deal down the road, but he's a guy that I've been told George is very high on. Another guy who I think is, NIL is really important to him. So they're going to have to work that angle, show him that, that's, George is a place where you can go and, still make decent money on the side as well. So, if you go to Georgia, NIL is there for everyone. They do a great job with utilizing that and showing it to their players and showing them how they can make a little extra coin. So they're going to have to show that for these offensive linemen for sure. Carter Nelson is a tight end, '1 player in Nebraska. Todd Harley already has 2 tight ends on board, but you want to stack up. You want to get the 2 best that you can, and Carter Nelson's one of them, 6'4", 205. Multi-sport star, played on both sides of the ball, I believe was consistently the best player on the field at all times out there. He can catch, he can run, he can jump. This guy's a big deal, going to be in town for an official visit. We'll see if he wants to jump on board. I think Georgia would make room for him. He's a really, really good player. So those are the targets still out there right now. Let's talk about, of course, a couple of big names who are going to be on campus. Dylan Raiola, 5-star quarterback, big deal, right? We've been talking about it for a long time. Rocket arm. He's getting the Patrick Mahomes comparisons. And the dominoes are already started to fall a little bit. He was able to land Jaden Riddell after an unofficial visit 2 weekends ago. People want to play with him. I think Georgia has taken a step forward with Jeremiah Smith, who's currently committed to Ohio State. I think Georgia still has an outside shot there. And then Ryan Wingo, he's another guy that has been linked to Dylan Raiola. So that Dylan is going to be in his ear, getting everything, doing everything he can to make sure Ryan Wingo gets in the fold, probably sooner than later. So he's going to be out there recruiting. And that's why it was good to have him committed going into this official visit. And if you watch my videos all last month, I kept telling you he's going to be on board publicly by the time that official visit rolls around, because he wants to be full, all in, 100% recruiting for Georgia publicly, not having to do it privately. So Dylan being in town for his official visit is big. Nye Carr is also in town, 6 foot, 170 pound, 4-star wide receiver down at Colquitt County. Electric, fast, speedy, whatever you want to call it. He is a guy who brings game-changing type of speed to the position. 62 catches, just over 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns last year, playing for one of the top programs in Georgia, not only in South Georgia, but across the state. Colquitt County, kid can run a route, he can get open, create separation, and if you don't have good technique, he's going to fly by you down the field and take off for a big game. That's the skill set that he brings, but he's great in the screen game. The quick, 5-yard in, 5-yard curl on a key third down. He's a guy who can make that happen for you. He can line up in the slot on the outside. He brings a lot to the table, and he's going to be in town for his official visit as well. I think Sokovie White is going to be in town as well. I've heard different reports, but I've had kind of a growing list of official visitors that I've started, probably a couple months ago, and he's on the list for this weekend that I have. So I think he told me back in February that this was the weekend. He's a 3-star wide receiver commit from North Georgia at Cass High School. But I want to get in touch with him one more time before I put him in a story that I need to write on Dawg Post later. But again, the story's coming with more details on all these kids. But this weekend, I think, is more defense heavy. So make sure you watch tomorrow's video, which might go a little longer than this one because it's just full of dude after dude after dude. So a lot of big defenders in town, but it's a pretty solid list on offense as well, as you can tell. But Ryan Wingo is the big deal. I think if you're Georgia, you need to do everything you can to take a firm lead and, win him over and be like, hey, don't worry about those official visits. Come on board now, solidify your spot in this class, and let's take it from there. So that's the big one to watch. We'll see if they can gain some momentum with Jared Gibson. I think it might be a little tough. But Daniel Calhoun is another guy who I think Georgia might be able to take a considerable lead after a successful visit. I think they have a lead behind the scenes right now. Could be wrong, but I do think that could end up being Georgia, Alabama. Marquise Easley, getting him on campus is a big deal. I think the staff's excited to have him on board this weekend. So Dylan Raiola, again, 5-star quarterback in town. Big weekend all around, but this is your quick list of offensive players, targets, and commitments. We're going to be in town for an official visit this weekend. Thanks for watching this video. Stay tuned to the next one. Make sure you check out my video tomorrow breaking down the defensive targets and commitments. We'll be in town as well. Guys, thanks for watching. As always, we'll catch you over on the website.